Imagine waking up on a quiet Sunday morning only to step outside and find a sleek black Mercedes-Benz blocking your driveway like it owns the place. Not by mistake, but on purpose. And the worst part, the note on the windshield doesn't say sorry for you for the inconvenience. It says, suck it up. From that moment, peace on Reuben Miles's farm vanished. What started as one woman's arrogance turned into a full-blown spectacle, one that would prove not all fences are built from wood and wire. Some are built from self-respect. The sun had barely cleared the ridge when Reuben Miles stepped out onto the porch, mug of steaming coffee in hand. From his side of the fence, the world was simple. Rows of crops glistening with dew, the quiet hum of life on his small farm. But this morning, peace didn't greet him. A sleek black Mercedes-Benz sprawled across his gravel driveway like a deliberate blockade. Not just parked, angled perfectly to make sure no tractor, truck, or car could move an inch. Reuben Miles, a tall black man with calloused hands and calm eyes, stared at it for a long second. He didn't need a second guess. He already knew who owned that shiny piece of arrogance. Marjorie Langford, the self-appointed ruler of the HOA next door and the one who'd spent months trying to drag him under her community regulations. She called his tractor an eyesore, said his wooden fence lowered property value, even claimed his mailbox color wasn't aesthetic enough. But he didn't live under their rules. And that, more than anything, infuriated her. He walked closer, the gravel crunching under his boots. Sure enough, there was a note tucked under the wiper. He pulled it free, reading it once, then twice. Your driveway's got a brand new guest. You don't use it enough, so I'm borrowing it today. Suck it up. What would you do if someone parked their shiny car across your driveway just to prove a point and still had the audacity to say, suck it up? Before we get into it, what city or country are you watching from right now? Drop it in the comments. We love seeing where our viewers are tuning in from. And if you believe that standing your ground is sometimes the only way to deal with bullies, smash that like button and subscribe to Story Arc, because some battles aren't about fences or driveways, they're about respect. His jaw tightened. That wasn't an accident. That was a dare. A few of the neighbors from across the boundary were already watching from their manicured lawns, phones out, pretending to water plants. Marjorie wanted a scene, wanted him to march to her door so she could gloat about HOA authority. Instead, Reuben took a slow sip of his coffee. The steam curled past his face as he exhaled steady, controlled. He wasn't angry. Not yet. He set the mug down on his porch rail and looked past the Benz to the big red tractor resting near the barn. He'd worked hard for this land. Every fence post, every crop line, every square inch was his. And no one, especially not a racist neighbor with a clipboard complex, was going to park her luxury toy on it. If she wanted to block his driveway, fine. He'd move it his way. He turned toward the barn, the decision already made. Reuben set his mug down and strode toward the barn. The old red tractor waited in the corner, steel gleaming faintly beneath the morning light. He climbed up into the seat, turned the key, and the engine roared to life. Deep, steady, and powerful. The sound carried across the quiet cul-de-sac, breaking the perfect symmetry of the HOA's calm morning. Curtains twitched. Heads turned. Phones rose. The big tires crunched along the gravel as Reuben steered toward the driveway. The Mercedes-Benz glimmered under the sun like a polished trophy, but to him, it was nothing more than an obstacle on his land. Halfway there, the front door across the property burst open. Marjorie came charging out in her bathrobe, waving her arms wildly. Her voice tore through the air. "Stop that! That's a luxury vehicle! You can't touch it!" Reuben didn't speed up, didn't slow down either. He leaned slightly out of the tractor cab, his voice calm and firm. "You blocked my driveway, Marjorie. I'm just moving it off my property." Her face twisted, disbelief etched into every line. "You wouldn't dare." He would. And he did. The tractor rolled forward with slow, deliberate weight. The front fork dipped low, sliding easily beneath the car's frame. Metal groaned as the powerful machine lifted, and the Mercedes tilted upward, its front tires dangling helplessly above the pavement. The crowd of neighbors gasped. Some laughed softly, others whispered in disbelief. Reuben kept his eyes on the task, steering the tractor forward until the car hovered right over the edge of the drainage ditch that bordered his property. He gave her one last look. "You've got about 3 seconds to move it yourself." Marjorie froze, her hands trembling with rage. If you drop that car, I'll have you arrested. You'll regret this. Reuben nodded once. All right then. He eased the lever. The car slid forward, its front end dipping into the ditch with a heavy thud. Mud splashed up. The Mercedes sat there nose down, tires spinning helplessly in the muck. For a moment, silence filled the air, then laughter erupted. The mighty HOA Queen's car lay conquered, half buried and powerless, and Reuben, calm as ever, switched off the engine. Marjorie's scream shattered the brief silence. She ran toward the ditch, her bathrobe flapping, hair whipping in the wind. "You vandal! You'll pay for this!" she shrieked, her voice echoing down the street. The sight of her precious Mercedes, tilted nose first in the mud, sent her into a frenzy. She climbed halfway down the embankment, yanking at the handle, slamming the gas pedal. But all that did was bury the tires deeper into the muck. The engine whined, mud sprayed, and the luxury car only sank further. Neighbors who'd once been silent now burst into laughter. One man across the road yelled, "Looks like you'll need a tow truck, Marjorie." Their mockery only fueled her fury. She spun toward Reuben, face red, pointing like an accuser on stage. "This is your fault. You attacked my car. I'm calling the police." Reuben didn't flinch. He crossed his arms, voice level. "You parked on my property. I just moved what didn't belong here." Marjorie's hands shook as she fumbled for her phone. "You're going to jail for this, you hear me?" she screamed. And just like that, she dialed 911, not to report a crime, but to try to reclaim control. "Hello? Yes, I'm being attacked. A black man just destroyed my car with a tractor," she cried dramatically into the phone, her voice trembling with fake fear. Reuben exhaled slowly, shaking his head. Around him, the crowd grew, recording every second. He didn't say another word. Within minutes, distant sirens wailed through the still morning air. The sound crawled closer, flashing red and blue against the white fences and manicured lawns. Conversations fell silent. Everyone waited. Marjorie paced in circles, clutching her robe, muttering about lawsuits and jail time. The SUV, half swallowed by mud, puffed little clouds of smoke from its tailpipe like it too had given up. Reuben leaned against his fence post, calm as ever. He'd done nothing wrong. And deep down, every neighbor watching knew it. When the first police cruiser rolled up, Marjorie ran toward it, sobbing hysterically like a stage actress hitting her cue. "Officer, arrest him! He tried to kill me! He destroyed my car!" The officer looked past her toward Reuben and the idling tractor. His expression told the story. He wasn't buying it. The officer stepped out of the cruiser, pen and notepad in hand. Marjorie clung to his sleeve, babbling through exaggerated sobs. "He's dangerous. He attacked my vehicle. He could have killed me," she cried, pointing at Reuben as though she'd just survived a war. Reuben stood by his fence, arms folded, calm and quiet. "Morning, officer," he said evenly. "Mind if I explain what really happened?" The officer's eyes moved between the spotless tractor, the muddy Mercedes-Benz sunk nose-deep in the ditch, and Marjorie's trembling act. "Go ahead, sir." Reuben nodded once and began. "That car was blocking my private driveway. I didn't touch her. I didn't damage a thing. I just used my tractor to move it off my property, safely, and she left this note right here." He reached into his pocket and handed it over. The officer unfolded the paper and read aloud, "Your driveway's got a brand new guest. You don't use it enough, so I'm borrowing it today. Suck it up." The crowd chuckled. Marjorie's face drained of color. "That's not mine," she shrieked, lunging forward to snatch it back, but the officer stepped between them, frowning. "Ma'am, please step back." He turned the note over again, studying the handwriting, then looked at her mud-stained Mercedes. "Looks to me like trespassing on private property, and this man here just moved it. Nothing illegal about that." Marjorie's mouth dropped open. "You can't be serious. He lifted my car with a machine. That's destruction of property." The officer shook his head. "It's stuck, not destroyed. You're lucky it isn't worse. Frankly, I'd call that restraint." Behind them, neighbors began to laugh openly. One called out, "Guess the HOA rules don't apply outside your fence, huh, Marjorie?" Another added, "Maybe next time ask for borrowing someone's driveway." Marjorie spun on them, shouting, "You're all ungrateful. I am this HOA," but no one was listening anymore. The crowd had turned on her completely. The officer handed Reuben back the note, gave a polite nod, and said, "You're free to go about your day, sir." Then to Marjorie, more sternly, "Ma'am, I suggest you call a tow truck and calm down." As the patrol car pulled away, Marjorie stood alone by the ditch, her Mercedes dripping mud and pride. Reuben picked up his coffee, still warm, and walked back to his porch with a faint smile. Justice, he thought, had never sounded so much like a tractor. If you believe karma doesn't need permission to act, hit that like button and subscribe to Story Arc, because sometimes justice doesn't speak, it just lets the mud do the talking.